on the final step of our high school career, I want to look back and see what this journey has truly been for all of us. Though drawing and I never really got along, as many crude stick figures can attest to, high school has personally been more than just education. High school was a blank canvas. It did not come with instructions, nor a task card, or anything at all except one crucial element: potential. The potential to do literally anything. At Fremont, the classroom is just where it begins. Every student here today has a story that talks nothing of education or classrooms. Our stories consist of CCS, art showings, acting on the stage, and weekends well spent doing community service. My own story has two sides. On one hand, continuing the legacy, and on the other, building one. The tradition at Fremont is one of the best things here. Even the architecture of our main building dates back to the mission days, remembering the area long before it was Fremont High School. I, and many others here today, have been privileged to alter that tradition and leave our own unique mark on it. Many of us, including myself, were in the marching band, and each and every one has left their own scratch, there for the future to see. We all continued that legacy and put everything we had into making it the best it could be. We transformed our time at Fremont into whatever we wanted it to be, limited only by the edges of our imagination. And this is not unique to marching band. This is unique to Fremont. When you look at other sports teams or other clubs, you see this drive to do something, anything, positive in the short time that we are here. I've watched friends represent Fremont at the DECA Championships for 4 years straight. Football players nearly brought to tears simply by the sound of the bell, and classmates coming to class wearing mohawks for the upcoming CCS baseball games. For our time here is not measured by years, but by the accomplishments and triumphs that lie in our way. I have been privileged, with my own way, to give back to Fremont. When I joined robotics 4 years ago, I had no clue what I would find in it. I had no idea the hours upon hours of my time that it would take up, the hours of sleep I would lose over it, or how gladly I would give these things up for it. When I look back and look at where I am now, I can't help but feel pride at the growth. What started as a blank canvas now bursts into life, full of color and beauty. Where there once was nothing, now there are endless stories to be told, to be passed down throughout the years. But I did not create this for myself. I have made and left it for those to come. It is my gift, my legacy, that they will continue. But they will change it, improve it, make it theirs, and accomplish far more than I had even dreamed of. And this legacy will become Fremont's, another medium for future students to create themselves in. My own mark, forever engraved in Fremont for years upon years to come. Fremont has been a blank canvas for all of us, as it will be to all others to follow in our footsteps. What goes upon this is up to us, and is only limited by our passion and our drive. Each person here now leaves with their own version of Fremont, the version that their unabated hard work has created for themselves. Each is different, full of numerous triumphs and failures, and defines what kind of person we are. Fremont has given all of us so much, and education is but the smallest piece of it. Thank you.
Friends, and all those who have continued to inspire and propel us forward. The success is just as much theirs as it is ours. Class of 2014, we made it. The finish line is in sight. High school has been a full novel in itself, with its climaxes and little moments, journeys and triumphs. As with any story, it has been uncertain where we'd end up and how we'd write the next chapter in our lives. 4 years ago, we hadn't even found the starting point yet. When we first got here, most of us had the same question, whether we realized it or not. Who are we? It wasn't about where we'd go, but rather where we'd stand. Among the already numerous names on the shelf, where would our tale find its niche? Now, after high school, we still search for a sense of belonging in this hectic world. Sometimes, we just don't know. Sometimes, our place is forced upon us by others who claim to know exactly where we are supposed to be, who we are supposed to be. These past few years have been all about decisions and planning for the future, and it definitely doesn't end here. People will always try to categorize us, to define us with penciled-in bubbles, letters, numbers, appearances, and the past. But how others define us has never mattered. It's about how you think of yourself. And truly, how do we find our place without finding ourselves first? I struggled with just that. Before coming to Fremont, I was awfully shy. Public speaking and speaking out in general terrified me. But I decided that I wanted to change that. Here I am today, no longer invisible and with a voice of my own. How? I stopped trying to see myself through others' eyes. I stopped looking at the place others put me in. I started believing in myself. And the biggest gift that Fremont has given me, has given all of us, is acceptance. Fremont isn't just a school, it's a family, one so welcoming that it's effortless to be yourself. Here, one theme has repeatedly been drilled into me. You can succeed. Forget caste and personal problems because none of that matters. Fremont has taught me to ignore what others believe I should be, to ignore the limits that others impose on me, because truly, only you can limit yourself. Throughout my years here, I've seen so many of us struggle to keep moving forward, but I have seen the same people who had initially given up, later find faith in themselves and rewrite their success. Maybe you were failing a class, but you pulled through, and you're here now. Maybe you lost hope, but managed to hold yourself together, and you are here now. We've all fought our own battles to be present here and now. And as long as you believe in yourself, you have the strength to take on whatever you will face. You are stronger, smarter, braver, and more beautiful than you think you are. And who we are is just a reflection of who we believe we are. Know your flaws, understand your obstacles, but don't let them hold you down. Now, wherever life takes us, one thing's for sure, we're definitely not where we started, and we definitely have many more adventures ahead. But wherever you go, know that you don't have to search for your place anywhere, because it is right within you. Don't look towards others to figure out who you are, because they'll always judge you by your cover. No one can tell you who you are, and nothing can hold you back from success, because you write your own story. This is just the beginning, so don't hesitate. Pick up the pen and make your own place on the shelf. Only you can define you. Thank you.
Stories are what we create at Fremont. Stories of success, of failure, of joy, of sadness. But there are stories that go untold, not because they aren't worth telling, but rather because we can't force those painful words out of our mouths. It is these untold stories I want to honor tonight. I know the pain of an untold story because I held back from telling mine for years. Ever since I was a child, substance abuse has been a part of my life. I knew the symptoms by memory, but I could never have predicted how the side effects of a family member's addiction would affect me. Sleepless nights, missing school, and constant worry were not the things I expected in my last year of high school. But there were things I had to deal with nonetheless. Entering into the 12th grade, I had closed myself from everyone and refused to talk to anyone. I refused to find guidance, refused to speak, refused to tell the story of what was happening to me. Because of the untold story I kept inside, I began to doubt that college was for me. I had to stay home and watch out for my family. There was no money, me back was my silence. Like so many Fremont students, I was holding back my hopes and goals, keeping quiet, afraid to share, mostly in fear of facing the judgment of my peers and teachers. But something happened in late September. I began to share my story and received my help. My teacher was making us peer edit our personal narratives, and I trembled at the idea of having my seat partner read my story. What would she think? How would she even begin to understand? But as I read her essay, I was surprised. I would have never suspected that she too was struggling under the weight of an untold story. 10 minutes later, we both sighed in relief. She understood me, and I understood her. And we both understood that we were not the only ones. And we're not. We are not the only ones. All of us come to Fremont with the burden of untold stories. We have students who are homeless, students who struggle with depression, students who don't feel safe enough to share their experiences. It is my hope that they do not leave Fremont that way. Fremont is amazing, and not just because it's inclusive, but because it helps us, teaches us how to tell our stories. Fremont has created spaces where those of us with untold stories can reach out, connect, and find others like ourselves. Fremont has empowered our voices, made us feel like we are worth listening to. And now we are here. We are the voices of those who do not crack. We can empower those who do not speak. And we will stand for those stories that must be told. It is never too late to leave. Even though our time together has ended, each of us has the power to tell our story. Fremont has luckily given us the tools, but only you can give your own voice to your own story. As you leave tonight, consider the stories you carry with you. And remember, you are not the only one. We are here, we are waiting, we are ready to listen to the story that remains untold. I will miss you all, and thank you.